Hello everyone, I'm Kark, your espresso fueled gamer, and here on this channel, we're going to be brewing up some honest reviews, breakdowns, and updates with just the right amount of caffeine. So every game that I cover, or patch that I cover, or update that I cover, will be judged on the bean scale. It goes something like this. It's either going to be not beaned, lightly beaned, half beaned, fully beaned, or a unique type of beaned that is going to be specifically for that game. So today we're going to put Space Marine 2 patch 10 through the grinder and see where it lands. So originally when they put out the update and what is available in it, there is a ton of free content, which is amazing as always. We have 2 new game modes. We got the PvP game mode of Hellbrute Onslaught, and we have the Stratagems game mode for PvE. Along with that, we have a new operation called Vortex, a new Eternal War PvP map. We have 3 new weapons, the new heroic weapons, Chaos Armor Pack, new enemies, and a whole suite of Season Pass cosmetics that are now available. They also did some balancing here and there, but honestly, I'm not going to cover the balancing because if I cover the balancing, that alone can probably take its own video. We're just going to look at what the patch 10 provided, and kind of the state of the game where it is right now, and what potential it has for the future. So I do want to get this out of the way really quick. The PvP modes. So I remember when the game first came out, I played PvP quite a bit and I enjoyed it. My biggest complaint with it now is nobody really plays it. And there's all these research little tokens you can get that is really hard to get because practically nobody plays it. Sure, this new mode is going to bring people in to play it for a bit, but once the novelty wears off, it's going to be really, really hard to get the achievements for PvP. That's just my one complaint about PvP. I think PvP is great in the game, but there's just some secret sauce that they're missing for it to make it a really big, like, banger of a PvP experience. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way, I want to move on to the new operation Vortex. So I think Vortex is amazing. Finally, we're getting a new scene transition that isn't just clicking on an elevator. We're getting that teleportation mechanic, which is awesome. And we get a new boss, and the boss is actually, in my opinion, it's not that bad at all. I actually think it's a rather easy boss to fight. Most of the boss fights are actually not too bad. This one I think is actually probably one of the easier ones. And I love the visuals. Visuals in this one are amazing. Top-notch visuals. Now, even though these visuals are amazing, I do have my own complaints about it. It's not really a big deal. It's definitely something that's going to be fixed in the future, if not within, the first month of release. There's definitely a lot of bugs when it comes to the teleportation mechanic. The new scene transition. I have been stuck under the floor. I've fallen through the floor. When you get stuck under the floor, you can't attack anything, but everything can attack you. So it's basically just a failed run. So definitely things they need to fix there. But honestly, that's not even the worst contender for the worst bugs. The worst one right now still stays in siege mode, where you can literally be 25, 24, 20 waves into a run and the server will just fail and you lose all your progress. Everybody does. So it's really bad when you have bugs in a game, and it's even worse when those bugs literally stop all your progress completely. So definitely some things need to be addressed in the new operation. So next, kind of in conjunction with these operations, I want to take a look at the Chaos Spawn, the new Majoris enemy for the Chaos. Honestly, I'm a huge fan. I think they're awesome. I think that their attack patterns are a little bit more subtle than what we're used to with the Tyrannid Warriors, but they're very good, very unique, and it's very easy to tell what variant you have simply based off the way they attack. So they've done a very good job with them. I haven't had any real bugs with them lately. Aside from maybe like a couple hitboxes that are weird, I don't really have that many complaints with them. Very good design, really changes the game with Chaos, and I honestly think this is a piece of what they were missing to make Chaos a more exciting faction to fight against, especially after the release of that Sangor. They were, oh man, I still don't like them, but whatever. Next up, we'll look at the 3 new weapons: the Pyre Cannon, the Pyre Blaster, and the Power Axe. Let's start with the Power Axe, because I think more people have been playing and using that one than the other 2. So the Power Axe is probably one of the weaker melee weapons right now, excluding the Bulwark class. Right now with the Bulwark class, there is a weird mechanic with the new shield charge that, for whatever reason, the block Power Axe has the highest damage output of it. So aside from that one character and that one instance of a mechanic, every other class, it is probably one of the weakest weapons you can use. Doesn't do a whole lot on its lights, doesn't do a whole lot on its whirlwinds. The best aspect of it is the power stancing, and the best part of the power stancing is the fact that you don't lose contested health. Well, you have to put the perk in. If you put the perk in, you don't lose contested health while you're power stancing, which allows you to get a lot of safety with it. Other than that, Power Axe is generally just okay. Visually stunning. Love the new finishers. Love the look of it. Needs a bit of tweaking here and there. It's not useless by any stretch of the imagination, but it is certainly not on par with the other melee weapons right now. Next, we're going to take a look at the Pyre Cannon and Pyre Blaster, where we have a bit of a unique situation here, where the Pyre Blaster tends to be better off than the Pyre Cannon. So the Pyre Cannon technically does do slightly more direct damage and does a little bit more of the burn ticks a little bit faster than the Pyre Blaster, but it's not by enough to warrant losing your melee weapon, which is what is the whole thing of the heavy class. The heavy class doesn't have a melee weapon, but in replacement for that, they have a really, really good primary. For most of the primaries, that's perfectly fine and acceptable, but the Pyre Cannon is just marginally better than the Pyre Blaster, and for that, it's not really worth using it as much. Also, the fire effect on both of these completely blinds the screen. If somebody shoots that in front of you or through you, you're getting flashbanged. It's done. It's over. You can't see anything. On top of the fact that burning enemies look so similar to executable enemies, that this definitely needs to be fixed in some way to make it a little bit less overlapping of these effects on the characters. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but there definitely needs to be some kind of change. And I've actually been voicing this for the Vanguard. It's actually really hard to see the outline of their health to tell you when you can get the execute on the grapnel. And now we're running into a situation where it's even worse if they're on fire. Now you can't tell at all. So there definitely needs to be some kind of fix. Maybe they could put an icon above them if they could be executed with the grapnel or something. I don't know. But for now, we'll have to see what they're going to do, because it is definitely a big complaint across the board by everyone. But if we're looking at just strictly the damage of the Pyre Cannon and the Pyre Blaster, the burning damage is king here. Build it for burning damage. That's it. Right now, it does, I think, 100 stacks of burn for either the Pyre Cannon or Pyre Blaster maximum for the enemies you want it to be maximum on. And that does a ton of damage. Actually, so much boss damage that you just burn them for a few seconds. You can switch to your secondary, pelt them with the secondary, switch back to your primary, burn them again, and you will melt bosses. So it's actually really, really good for bosses. And Extremis enemies, Terminus enemies. Majoris, it's okay. It's actually probably the weakest on Majoris enemies. And Minoris, it just deletes. So it's not that the damage is bad. It's just that the difference between the Pyre Cannon and the Pyre Blaster is not significant enough to really use the Pyre Cannon. Still, the Heavy Plasma Incinerator, in my opinion, is king. So yeah, we'll see what they do. I think most of the changes that need to be done with the Pyre Cannon, Pyre Blaster are quality of life changes and a bit of maybe a damage change for the heavy variant. And that's it. Other than that, I think that they're great additions to the game. A lot of fun to use. And especially if you want to mess with your friends and shoot fire straight through them. Definitely recommend. All right. So moving on, we're going to look at the heroic variants of the weapons. And oh boy, is this a hot topic right now. So for the heroic weapons, we have the Combi Melta Bolt Rifle, the Honorific Relic Bolt Pistol, Power Gladius Combat Knife, Xenophase Blade Power Sword, Relic Battle Worn Heavy Plasma Incinerator, and Kohler's Teeth Chainsword. I think we're just going to go from the top to the bottom here. Let's start with the Combi Melta Bolt Rifle. You can use a Melta as your alternative firing mode. Honestly, sounds great, has a great flavor to it. But the problem with it is you're replacing a grenade launcher with a Melta. So the issue with that is that the grenade launcher does so much damage at a distance where the Melta requires you to be close to them. So you can delete people from so far away with the grenade launcher, not even have to worry about them. But with the Melta, you're risking them coming close. So, and on top of that, you're using the worst variant of the bolt rifle, which is the normal one, not even like the marksman. You're not even getting the headshot bonus variant. So it's not awful, but it's certainly not better than the grenade launcher or the other variant of the bolt rifle. Moving on, we have the Honorific Relic Bolt Pistol. I haven't used it yet, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews from it. I'm definitely interested to get into it and try it out. I think that it's finally going to fix a few issues that the bolt pistol had, which is primarily contested health recovery, but we'll see. If the damage values on it are good, then great, fantastic, it can do something. I have heard though that its damage is a little bit low, and especially its gun strike damage is a little bit low because the gun strike isn't doing a 3-round burst. It's only doing a 1 shot, and its damage profile is slightly lower than everything else. So I'm interested to see. I think it's just going to be, in my opinion, not even using it yet, I think it's just going to be the best version of the bolt pistol. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the best sidearm by any stretch. Still think that the heavy bolt is still going to outclass it, and I think the plasma pistol is still going to outclass it. All right, so moving on, we have the combat knife. Combat knife is probably the best balanced version of the knife with a really strange passive. It sounds great, but the problem is that the combat knife doesn't get its big damage from its light attack. Even with the 75% bonus damage, it's still not going to be doing enough to warrant just dodging 3 times and then hit once. If it did it on its heavy attacks, now we're talking, because Shadow Stab does a ton of damage. And if you boost the Shadow Stab damage with your perfect dodges, now we're somewhere. And the balance kind of speaks for itself because it's a balanced weapon, not a block weapon. So then you're getting the bonus damage that you'd get from a 2 perfect block attack to then a 1 perfect dodge heavy, which is great. I actually think that's a really, really good mechanic if they switched it around a little bit. But other than that, it's probably a fine weapon, probably the best balanced knife you can use, but could definitely use a bit of change there, I think, to make it a little bit more fun. Now, we're going to go to the big boy of the patch, the Xenophase Power Sword. That one is insane. It is literally the best power sword you can use right now, without a doubt. It just makes something that's strong about the weapon stronger, which is pretty much what everyone was expecting for the heroic weapons. I don't think anyone was thinking that they were just going to be side grades to the weapons. I thought everyone was in the same boat of it being just upgrades. And maybe if there's a different variant in the relic tier, you can use that. But it was just supposed to be upgrades to the same class that it was fitting. So I don't know. But anyway, the power sword is insane. Xenophase Blade is crazy. Everything I've seen on it is insane. The damage is through the roof right now. I have no words, no notes. Just continue work. Just leave that weapon as it is and work on the other ones. That's all you need to do. Moving on, we have the heavy plasma incinerator. Once again, it kind of reminds me of the combat knife situation. The heavy plasma incinerator is buffing your fire rate of light shots when really the best aspect of your heavy plasma inhibitor are the heavy shots. So it's buffing the wrong thing. I mean, it's not a bad buff, but it doesn't really, the buff doesn't really help all that much. So it's very weird. It's very strange. I think it's fine as long as maybe they make another heroic variant that does something with the heavy attacks. I was kind of expecting if they did like maybe an AoE on the ground. So you'd shoot the plasma and maybe it left like a little AoE. Like if you did a heavy plasma, it'd leave an AoE on the ground. That would be cool. But I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent about this one. I haven't used it yet. I've seen a few people who have. It looks neat, but it again looks like a side grade, not really an upgrade. And then we go to the really, really bad one right now, and that is the Kohler's Teeth Chainsword. It runs into a lot of problems. First off, it is extremely slow. You will get frame trapped every single time you use this weapon, every single time you try to use the new mechanic it gives you. The chain punch heavy attack into shoulder bash. You will finish your shoulder bash and you will be making a grilled cheese sandwich at the end of it while you're getting pelted by Tyranids and Chaos, and you'll die. It is really, really bad. The speed is way too low. They've pretty much made it the same speed as the block weapons before patch. I think it was like 9.1 or something that they fixed the speed on block weapons. Yeah, it's really slow. I definitely do not recommend, at least right now. Looks super cool. I mean, honestly, all these weapons look really cool. They did a great job with the look. Although I wish they'd, like the Combi Melta and the Honorific Bolt pistol could use some little color variation. That would be nice. But honestly, the weapons themselves are great. Overall, my complaints about these weapons are I really thought that they'd be complete upgrades, but they really just seem to be, generally speaking, side grades or a downgrade, at least in the respect of Kohler's Teeth Chainsword. So this definitely needs to be looked at. I think that heroic weapons should be an upgrade, or at least bring some real unique mechanics to it. I do think the Combi Melta is a good idea because it does bring a new mechanic, but you need to buff the actual bolt rifle to make it more worthwhile to use. So we'll see what they do. All right. So with that, let's move on to the next thing, which is the new PvE game mode, the stratagems. So I love stratagems right now. I actually think they're a lot of fun. I think that the different modifiers they have in are fantastic. Some of them are serious, and, you know, you could definitely tell that they were putting in a lot of work into the, you know, making it more engaging, more balance heavy, and really trying to make it difficult. And then some of them are just fun, straight up fun. And I love that. I love that they have a combination of the two, and it works actually really, really, really well. My only complaint is time gating content. I used to play a lot of MMOs. I played a lot of other games, and time gating content is just so unnecessary to me. The only thing I understand about it is if you time gate it to then look and see what the complaints of people are, if they could test out all the modifiers, test out all the different maps with it, test out all the different enemies with it, the weapons, and you give them time to then balance patch it. But if they decide to keep the time gating forever and not provide a means to consistently get accolades even after the dailies and the weeklies, then I think that's going to be generally a negative, in my opinion. I don't like time gated content. I don't really think it's that necessary. It's really just going to stop somebody from, you know, getting the heroic weapon, all the heroic weapons in a week, when now it's going to take them a month to get it. Like, for what reason? Now they're just going to get on every week to just do the weekly, do the daily, and then say, okay, I'm done. When you could add it to the siege mode and they'll get the same amount of hours just doing the siege mode. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I get why it exists, but I'm still torn on this. If they decide to keep it, I do think it's a negative. It won't kill the game for me, but I definitely do think it is a negative, and they should find maybe another way to provide accolades in the future. And it really does seem like they are going in a positive direction. especially with Season Pass 2 coming around. So Season Pass 2 looks like a huge upgrade from the first Season Pass. Honestly, I love the chapters that they're using for it. I love the cosmetics, especially the first one that they had for the Black Templars. Amazing. That is exactly what they want. Now they made it so that all these champion cosmetics can be mixed and matched with a bunch of the different classes, which is fantastic. You could change the colors of it. This is exactly what we wanted from the beginning, and I'm glad that they put that in. It's a fantastic addition. It shows that they care about their community, and it shows that they are willing to just be flexible and just kind of put it out there, and it's all good. It's all good. Now, it is expensive. I mean, that is up to the person, but $40 for a season pass is pretty chunky. Pretty chunky. I'm not opposed to it. If you love the game, I bought the season pass because I love the game. I know I'm going to play it the whole year round, and I'm pretty confident that the Redacted one is a Dawn of War 4 collab. I would not be surprised. But again, it is a pretty hefty price tag for the Season Pass 2. I understand it's a lot of work that gets put into it, but at the same time, you know, if you look at the mods that are coming out too, they're also putting in a lot of work in those mods, and they're coming out and looking very, very good too. So I don't know. We'll see. I want to see what the rest of the Season Pass has to offer. From the quick trailer that they had, it did look really nice, but I still need to see if the $40 price tag is 100% worth for just a normal person who wants really cool cosmetics. If you're a diehard fan, I'm pretty sure it's a no-brainer. You know, like myself, I bought it. I love it. Black Templar looks amazing. Imperial Fist looks amazing. I'm using them all the time. So we'll see. And I think with that, we could put patch 10 to rest, and we could talk about Space Marine 2 as a whole right now. So it's 50% off until September 15th. This is not a sponsored stream, but in my opinion, if you like board-based games, Space Marine 2 is among one of the best. It is certainly worth $30, and it is certainly worth, in my opinion, $60, especially for putting the dollar to hour value. You're getting far more, in my opinion, because you have, if you want to level up all your characters, all your weapons, really take advantage of what the PvE has to offer in this game, you will certainly put more than the dollar to hour value for this game. On top of that, it's co-op. You know, everybody loves co-op games these days. You know, Helldivers, you got your Dark Tide, you got, you know, Jump Space coming up. There's a lot of really good co-op games out there, and this is just one of those that takes you back, honestly. If you've played, you know, Gears of War or Halo back in the day, this is really one of those games that really takes you back to those times, and it's fantastic. I have a few complaints in terms of, you know, server stability, a few quality of life changes here and there, but generally speaking, they tend to address it pretty well. It took a bit of time in the beginning, but now they're doing far better. And the most recent survey they put out was looking at contested health value, so those things might change. So it looks like they're going to be either swapping or keeping contested health value the same. But I think they're going to be swapping the way contested health value works, which is right now, ranged gives you far more contested health back than melee. But it seems like they want to do a bit of a change to maybe reverse it and see what happens and see how people feel. Honestly, I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen to it. I think changes like these are healthy for the longevity of a game and making it interesting, changing the way builds work, changing the way people play, making certain classes more viable than others, and it's going to be good. So let's go back to the scale. If you guys recall, we have the bean scale: not bean, lightly bean, half bean, fully bean, and for this game we do God Emperor beaned. So let's see where it stacks up. My personal opinion, it is fully beaned. I think that it's a very good game. It really is a complete package. You get what you're paying for, but there are certainly some underlying issues with the game in terms of their weapon balancing, in terms of their quality of life issues, in terms of their server stability. So I keep saying these things over and over again, but it's definitely apparent. If you play enough, you'll run into them and you'll notice them. So it could be God Emperor beaned at some point, but it's not quite there yet. I would say, honestly, if you want the perfect Space Marine 2 experience, if they continue this trajectory, I would say probably summer of next year, you're probably going to get the best possible Space Marine 2 you'll play. It's going to be summer of next year. That's what I think. But anyway, that's about it for this review. This has gone off way longer than I thought it would. And I guess that's maybe a good thing or maybe a bad thing. You guys tell me in the comments below. Like, subscribe, notification bell. I'm going to try to put out a video either each week or every other week, depending on the content, depending on what I'm doing. But that's the goal. So, oh, and if you want to catch me live, I do stream on Twitch. I try to stream every day if I can, but it's usually a few times a week. I don't really have a set schedule right now, but it's usually either mornings, afternoons, or nights. So you can kind of just have me there and you'll run into me eventually for sure. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, thanks for watching.